Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you at 1:16 on Best Coast time here in Los Angeles. It is a beautiful day. It's too hot outside. So it's one thing to have us be quarantined on the inside, but to now start to get the heated, you got to pick one. It's either killing by no air conditioning or killing. Well, we have air conditioning, so I'm not lying. Anyway, I just want to tell you guys, I'm excited about today's guest. But first, before we bring them on, I like to remind you guys of a little initiative that we're doing here on the show. It's a very simple one. It's one that I think everybody can do. And I know some of you are saying, maybe I can't do it, already just trying to get out of it. But it's a simple one. Here's how it works. What we are suggesting for folks is to take out one of these, a little notepad each day, write down the names of 3 persons, places, or things, and find ways to support especially our local businesses. So that could be, your gym. It could be somebody else's gym. It could be an industry you like. I've been propping up our local beer tavern over here. You're welcome. So you're welcome to go ahead and do any of those things. Totally understandable. If you don't have the financial means, and I totally understand, not everybody does, we also encourage you guys to get through and, donate your time. Ask how you can help organize, do whatever you can to help your small communities. And at the very least, if you can't do any of that garbage, I just ask you to do one small thing, which is check in on your fellow teammates, because it doesn't take that long to actually see how they're doing, ask them what's going on, find out what Netflix they're watching, all of those sorts of things, because we talk about mental health, but it's very rare that we actually do something about it. So I think that we as jiu-jitsu practitioners, we are usually in close capacity with one another. So why not be close over virtual capacity as well? That's what I got for you. All right, our guests today. These 2 gentlemen I've known for a little bit. I've always figured that I've been a student of theirs by far, mostly because I watch a lot of their videos and then bastardize them at my own gyms. They are wonderful practitioners. They are both just people who are some of the chillest folks that you will find in all of jiu-jitsu. And that is a hard race to win. If I'm being honest, there are a lot of very chill people, a lot more stoners than you think that they have beaten out to get to this level of chill. But recently, I saw that they are temporarily closing the location of one of their gyms with the intention of coming back after COVID. And that to me said, wow, we should talk about that, because it's a great strategy to figure out, all right, listen, rent being as it is, let's regroup. And then when the time is right, we'll reopen. And we want to talk to them today about that. So that means we are coming to you today with 2 folks who I believe are excellent practitioners, wonderful gents. We've got Alex Ecklin and Flores. How you guys doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Rob? Thanks for having us.
What's up, Rob? Thank you.
Not a problem in the least. Listen, it's been a while since I've seen you guys in person. I'm always watching you virtually, so I'm always watching you by far, and I'm always very, very in awe of the cool things that you guys are doing. So I hope that you know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Alex, I hope you know that I think recently somebody, I don't know if I was on like a fight companion with somebody or we were watching a match, and somebody tried to talk about a half guard sweep that they were like, oh, it's this. And they started trying to name what it was. And another person, not me, just goes, it's a G roll. And I was like, oh, very, very, I guess we have an Alex Ecklin fan in here, everybody.
Happens, right?
Hey, man, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. So why don't we go ahead and start with this? Alex, talk to me a little bit about, when you guys had to shut down for COVID. How did that situation come about? When exactly did you guys have to do it?
It was actually just 1 weekend ago, and it kind of came pretty quickly. Van and I, we had 2 locations, and one of them we had a business partner, and our business partner called us, and he told us that he's accumulating a lot of debt and he no longer can sustain it, and that he made the unfortunate decision to shut down all of his centers, and one of our gyms was inside one of his centers. And as soon as we found out about that, we brainstormed what to do with the other location, and we were already behind on the rent there as well. So we just thought that we should just pause it temporarily and come back in a little bit and do it even bigger and better.
So can you guys tell me where the two locations were? Because I was aware of it, but I didn't know specifically where, because it's like me telling you, oh, hey, I'm going to Temecula, and you go, great, California to California. Good job, Raph.
Well, they're both in Brooklyn. One is in downtown, and the other one is in Bushwick. The original location was in Bushwick. But as you know, Raf, our locations are secret, right? You know that fact? Yeah. So no one really knows unless you email us, or you know someone that told you where it is.
I just like the fact that you guys have, like, as people are starting to talk about the words for speakeasy, I like the fact that you guys were already like, yeah, we've been that.
Yeah, exactly.
So two locations. Obviously, the partner says, all right, this is what's going on. Well, you mentioned that you talked with your landlords about the situation and saying, like, hey, listen, we're trying to do something here, but we're kind of stuck. We can't do anything. How did that conversation go?
There was not too much of a conversation. Like we were reaching out to the landlords. We were taught, sending up some messages, and they weren't really willing to work with us, and we didn't expect them or get upset over that. At the end of the day, we signed the contract, we signed the lease, so nobody saw this coming. So it was unfortunate, but it's all good.
Gotcha. And so did you guys like split the squad, or were you guys going between the two different locations? Were you in charge of one, Van, or were you in charge of one, Alex? Like, I don't exactly know how those splits goes, especially when there's a franchise involved.
Yeah, in the beginning it was just one location, so Alex and I were both teaching there. We each had our days, but since we had to split, we actually had to choose days where we would alternate the locations, and that way the students actually got a taste of both of us, and got a little bit of a diverse way of training, because Alex has a different style, I have a different style, and we also put in more effort to hire some nice instructors, some good instructors, also add their style in the mix as well. So we've been able to manage schedule-wise, between the two locations.
See, I like that, because most of the time you end up hearing that when there's a split in locations, you just kind of get the one instructor, and then maybe once in a blue moon, you see that one person come from the horizon, and you go, oh my God, is it that day for this person? So I think it's kind of dope that you guys made it a priority to give your students the best of both worlds on that side.
We kind of wanted to avoid that too, like people favoring one over the other, because people tend to like a certain style more, but why limit yourself when you can learn from many different ways and different many styles? Especially, Alex has a different teaching style than I do, similar but different, and some people can hone into his teaching and some can prefer mine. But at the end of the day, the more ways you learn, the better.
I was curious about this because I've talked with you both at different times, but like, Alex, how did you gravitate toward Van? Like, what about him or his game made you say, like, yeah, this is somebody who I kind of want to partner with? Like, I like what they are and what they do.
I mean, Ralph, I had no choice. I'm trying to improve my half guard, and then I have this guy passing my guard all the time. So I got to find a way to slow him down. So it just happened naturally. And like in the very beginning, I was a purple belt and Van was a white belt, but then Van caught up pretty quickly after about a year and a half. And we were just training together all the time. We would travel to compete all the time together. We were not too happy what we were doing for work, so we would go eat lunch and complain together. So kind of just naturally happened. It was not really like planned or anything like that.
So Van, do you have recollections of having complaints for lunch? And if so, what were you complaining about? Because I mean, I know the 9-to-5 life, so I understand.
Yeah, I mean, our complaints were mostly like, I don't even want to divulge, but it was just like your generic gym stuff. Like, there's things that go on in the gym that, of course, but you don't speak about. it's those kinds of things. And Alex and I, of course, experiencing the same things. Needed somewhere to vent. So every lunch, wherever we go, wherever the lunch special is, there we are talking about things that we could probably improve with our lives, and maybe also improve in our training and where to go from there. It's not something that, of course, we like to speak about publicly, because we don't want to talk bad about anyone. That's the last thing we want to do. But it's in that regard.
Gotcha. Okay. So then, Alex, I'll come back to you with this. What is the place that you guys tended to go the most? Because I know, like, I just did some of my taxes right now, and if my tax guy's listening, you know what's up. But like, I literally, in submitting receipts, was like, well, this was a lunch. This was a business lunch. This was me covering this event. And I remember once I like went down the list of events that I cover, and he was like, "Are you literally working every weekend at an event on top of your job?" And I was like, "Yes." And he goes, "It just seems like to somebody else I would be like, this is a lie." And I was like, "It's not. You want to see all the photos and the podcasts that I've done?" But I know that I hit sushi. Sushi is my joint where I'm going to. Is there a particular place that you guys go to that you said you got the most frequent?
Yeah, so we had a lineup, Raf. You ready to hear it?
Yeah.
All right. So the first place, all right, the first place that we would always go to, all right, and this is a plug. This is our homegirl. This is her place. Her name is Lupe. The place is called Margon. All right. It's on 46th between Broadway and 6th. All right. It's a Cuban restaurant. All right. After you eat the chicken there, you need about a 2-hour nap. You wake up, you're 3 pounds heavier, and you have a little bit of BO, but it was the best chicken you ever had. All right. So we had Margon. All right. Then if we wanted to do slightly healthier, meaning we had a tournament coming up, we had to cut weight, we would go to Turco. All right. It's a Turkish restaurant, 43rd and 9th. All right. Excellent. Now, another place that Van used to really, really love, around the corner from Shaolin's, okay, 48th between 7th and 8th. It was, I don't remember the name, but we would always get Vietnamese pork chops from there.
It was a Obao or something like this.
No, Obao was the Thai place and Vietnamese place on 9th Avenue. Around the corner was another one. I don't know the name.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So we would get the pork chops there. And Roth, when me and Van, when he had like a special occasion, when we needed to like celebrate, we would splurge and go to Whole Foods.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's how you know you're living that good life. Because I'll tell you this much. I mean, the worst part about it is I'm trying to explain to people right now. So I work on a show where there's catering, and that's good and bad. The good is that you get your lunches and your dinners kind of comped. The bad is if you're staying that long on set, you're not doing jiu-jitsu. So I literally am sitting there with like salads while everybody else is going nuts. And they're just like, there's one coworker who looked at me and she said, "Wow, Raph, you eat really well." And I was like, "I'm trying so hard." It's so sad. So yeah, I definitely understand. It's almost a weight cut, but it's not. I would tell you guys this, that I'm glad that you have a set series of places that you go. I mean, just between these different routine places, this is good food therapy to have. So let me kind of circle back to this. When you said that you realized, okay, listen, the landlord's not going to work with us on this. At what point did you start to come to a strategy of saying we need to rethink how we're going about what we're doing?
Van, do you want to take a stab at that one?
Yeah, it was actually just like a week of deliberation between me and Alex, or it was just like over a weekend. We heard from our partner that he was not able to do it, so we're like, okay, what do we do now? And it doesn't make sense that we would be bleeding out money through rent, and we might not have enough money to reopen, if anything, or we'll be in debt. So the things to think about, and also like with our students, there's so many people that have prepaid for classes or memberships and things like this, or even donated so much money to us. So we wanted to make sure that whatever we did, we made sure that it's secure, for them and what they invested in, which is they invested in us, that we would come back strong. So that's basically what happened. Unless you want to add on more stuff, Alex.
Yeah, that was about it, Raf. Just in New York, it's I guess we're going to be probably one of the last states, if not the last state, to open up. Probably maybe in California, and the phase one just started 2 days ago or 3 days ago on Monday, and by the time phase four hits, it's going to be a minimum, probably end of July, and then who knows what's going to happen after that, and also like Van and I, we're young guys, but I feel like we're kind of like old school, where like I don't think either of us are going to be, doing like distance jiu-jitsu or social distance jiu-jitsu. So like we want to come back, get back on that pressure passing, back on all the different attacks and stuff like that. And I don't know when that will be, So that was one of the pillars of our decision.
I understand that. Especially, it is hard to explain to people because of the delicacy of the viruses. You're just kind of sitting here and going like, well, listen, I understand what you are saying. I hope you understand that there is both a mental and physical benefit of this, that we almost seem at an impasse because you need to be close to people to do it. There's a real sense of that. And I would say in other locations, it would be so much easier to just say, oh, okay, well, this is our plan. This is what we're going to do. In New York, there is a certain delicacy to how you go about it, because a large part of it, as good as you can plan for it, is out of your hands. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to pull it back. What was the students' response though to it?
They were actually it was mixed. Like it was mixed. I know a lot of people were sad, of course, but also a lot of people were understanding of what's going on. Most of our students are like extremely supportive of us, and we even had people call us up asking to whatever they can do to help us and stuff like this. So like in the most part, they're extremely understanding, and we really appreciate that about them.
Yeah, Van, like I was a little bit surprised how upset and sad some people were. And like, obviously you and I, when it hit us, we took it, but I kind of, personally, like I think I'm a little bit different from Van, but personally, I felt almost relieved because, for the last couple of months, there was so much uncertainty and we just didn't know, what was happening. And now that this happened, now it's like, all right, time to, find bigger, better, learn from all the mistakes that we made, regroup, reorganize, and, come back, stronger. It's almost like, you're rolling with somebody and they catch you with a submission. They're getting smashed, but also, man, they're catching you in a submission that you shouldn't have gotten caught with. And you're like, God damn it, like I'm on top side control and they just choked me. Like, what's going on? And now, you shake hands again and you come back, and you're just, going full speed. So it's kind of
it's a reset. It's a reset right there. Yeah.
But it's a reset after we got caught with a sub that we didn't see coming. So
now we can learn from it.
Exactly. Because we were doing everything right. We were doing, we were going so strong. The momentum was going, so well for us. And then, this completely sidetracked us. Like, who could have seen this coming? And now, like when we come back, I have so many crazy ideas, man. I'm even afraid to tell you as of now, because
we'll filter
you're
through
gonna
them.
talk me out of it. You're gonna talk me
we'll
out of it.
We'll filter through them. Don't worry.
That is the one weird part about having all this extra time is that you do find yourself going, well, we're only at the brainstorming and there's nothing bad in brainstorming. And that's all you're doing because you can't enact some of the plans. So you end up being like, what if we trained with Air Jordans get a partnership with Nike? No, that doesn't work. All right. Shoes on the mat. Yeah, you're right. All right. How about we're sponsored by Avion Water? That's
not bad.
Nice.
I mean, in an ideal world, I think the hard part is on our side is the messaging point. So I'm a communication guy. I'm not a scientist. I don't have.
You're not?
I wish I was. I have glasses. I know that usually is a dead giveaway for science. But as a communication guy, there's a lot of disappointment in mixed messaging. So, for example, I don't ever excuse people for not doing their own research, but I am disappointed when I will see conflicting studies not communicated well. And to me, then it becomes that's where the students go, oh, we should be able to go back right now. And it's like, no, hold on. We have these positive signs. We have these things. It is so confusing to so many people, and I understand that. But I think that in terms of our response to it from a governmental, small, big government, it's been very difficult to understand where we stand at any given point. So as business owners, I sympathize with that. I completely get that there is a lot of uncertainty. So to have the ability to scale back and then say, let's start planning for what we do when we come back makes me happy for your students. And of course, like we mentioned, being in New York at this time is difficult because, you know, we all look at the numbers and we all get worried, and there are different varying responses to it. And you guys have been very responsible with your stuff. If I'm remembering correctly, the gym has been open for about 4+ years, right?
Yes, exactly 4 years. This month is our 4-year anniversary.
I remember that because when you guys made the trek out on this way, I remembered it was coming. And I remembered you guys were in the process of building it, and I was so excited for it. And everything you guys were doing when you were open just seemed cool and unique. And, you know, it's one of the very few brand names that when you told me Masterskya that I said, oh, okay, well, teach me about that. And then it fit. And I kind of said, oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, that does make sense for you guys. So you created a very strong brand that I think will outlast whatever is going on right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was asking Alex this offline, but I'll ask you, Van, which is, how are you staying sane?
Sure.
I know you're a father, but there's a part of you that probably can't pass your baby side guard without somebody giving you a weird look. So
I tried.
So what have you been doing to stay
I almost
sane?
squished her.
Oh no.
You know, actually, like a lot of people they tell me that I'm very hands-on with my daughter. Like I guess some dads aren't, I guess, but I actually really enjoy taking care of her. You know, like the wife is a nurse. She's actually out there in the front lines taking care of COVID patients. So it's tough for us to juggle stuff. So a lot of times when she's working or when she's worried about maybe her contracting it, she's negative. She just got a test recently. Two times in a week she got tested just because she was scared of it. But I actually really just enjoy taking care of her. You know, taking the opportunity to get to see her grow. That's one of the best parts actually about the pandemic, I'd say, is that I got to spend more time with her because a lot of times I was so busy. And also I got to, do this a little bit more. I get to fish.
Oh, look at that. So I think I see the photos of it because whatever filters you use on your photos always make them look really cool. Like I'm a photographer by nature, and I look at those photos. And I'm like, yeah, it's almost in line with the VHTS kind of line. It was like the two of you guys working together. I just always look and I go, it's the same person taking the photo because it bugs me how nice they look.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you use it, but this app called VSCO Cam, really good. Really good.
I do use that, and I do try to touch up some of my photos. Don't look like that. So I'll just tell you that.
Actually, also, I know you're into cameras and gears and stuff as well, correct? I mean, but Fuji colors are amazing. So Fuji cameras, they've got it down packed to where you barely do any tweaks. Actually, Alex is getting into photography now. He wants to do some.
Is that true, Alex?
Some pictures.
I mean, I live in Brooklyn.
He dabbles.
So,
you have to.
Like
you kind of have to.
I need a bicycle and a camera, otherwise, and some tattoos.
You don't fit in, man.
Otherwise I got to move. That's also why I'm growing my beard.
How long has that beard been grown for?
This is my quarantine beard. So I started, 3.5 months ago. Going strong, Raf. Going strong.
Hey, listen, dude. Pretty soon.
I've been growing mine for a year. So this is a year.
I'm
This
so
is a year's worth of beard.
Van, I wanted to stay on that for just a second, though. First of all, thank your wife
Yeah.
for helping everybody there. So when you get off here, please extend our thanks because I know that's a very thankless
For
job
sure.
at this moment. But second, was there ever any concern, or did you guys have to have a talk about how you guys would do quarantine or anything like that? Because I know in my family there are some caretakers and nurses and whatnot. And there were real talks of, well, shit, I don't want to come home and contaminate you, especially if you've got
Yeah.
a child. Was that ever a concern, or how did you guys work around that?
You know, like we basically just set up protocols in terms of what she should do when she comes home from work. She immediately just goes to take a shower or dumps her dirty clothes somewhere where, you know, we don't have access to it and it's nice and secure. Also, actually, she makes sacrifices at work, like for the most part. You know, nurses have to eat, and she works night shift, by the way. So she works the graveyard shift. I mean, so she doesn't even eat. She skips the meal. She skips snacks. She skips drinking water because she doesn't want to take the mask off.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to take a mask off. And in terms of like quarantining or anything like that, we kind of hinted at it, but we tried to make sure that it wasn't even an option. Like we tried to make sure that she was making sure that she was safe and clean, and that wasn't even a possibility, even though, you know, it's uncertain. You just can't be too safe.
Yeah. Well, did that ever inform part of your decision-making process for the gym? Because we're also up against a little bit of an information war right here. So if there's bad communication on the part of our leaders and sometimes miscommunication or weirdly strongly worded messages between scientific departments, we're also facing a unique battle in jiu-jitsu where some people are like, it's not a thing. It's not real.
Yeah. I see a lot of skeptics, you know. Actually, Alex at one point he was like, this will blow over. But, you know, I actually the point where
you know, what happened
oh, go ahead.
Hey, Alex, did you get that?
Yep. Oh, sorry. My screen was kind of
Oh, it blanked
coming
out.
in and off. So I didn't hear. Yeah, I didn't hear that Van was starting to talk. Van, go ahead. I'll speak after you.
Oh yeah. So the part where it kind of got serious for me was when we actually came back from a trip in Toronto, and then started teaching class again. And this was when it was just starting, like March like 11th or something like that, when we started getting more serious. And then on my way back from the school on the subway, everyone was just looking weird at each other, you know, like they were like paranoid and looking at each other on the subway, of course, because everyone's too close to each other. No one was trusting each other. And I'm like, I don't think I want to take this commute, you know. I don't feel safe. I feel like chaos is gonna break it's gonna go down sometime soon. And I was right. 2 days later, shut down, lockdown. And we were trying to prolong our school from closing because we were like, you know, it may blow over, it may change, but then that whole thing hit. So, you know, that's when we realized, okay, you know what, this is pretty serious. So it sucks, but it has to be done, you know. And Alex, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, what I was gonna say, Roth, is like one thing that in the gym that we really pride ourselves on. We have a few things that we like really pride ourselves on. One of them is that we're open 365. You know, we in the 4 years that we were open, we closed only once when there was like a huge snowstorm and all the public transportation got shut down. You know, other than that, we're open all the time. So as soon as I started hearing about the COVID, like I was making speeches to my class, like, guys, you're gonna see my dead body laying in front of the school before I close the door. You know,
Yeah.
you know, I was talking, you know, I was talking so much trash, and you know, I was the most skeptical person. And what happened was, in my life, the only people that I, you know, will listen to and that I will like actually like, what they say I will actually take into account are my parents, my grandparents, and Van's wife. So what happened was, Van's wife through Van was like, "Hey, you guys got to shut down March 15th." And you know, I read that message and my heart sank, and I was like, "All right," you know, and that's what we ended up doing. And but personally, I prepared myself that when we were to shut down, that it would be for a prolonged period of time or indefinitely, as what's happening now.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine, and just to touch base on what you said earlier, Raf, like something that it's been slightly bothering me, or actually more than slightly, but it's been bothering me for a while now in the jiu-jitsu community and in any community is when, for example, if you're expert in jiu-jitsu or you're a black belt, you have to stick and talk about and preach what you know. And a lot of jiu-jitsu leaders are unfortunately taking their platforms and they're, spewing things that they don't know too much about. And what
Hmm.
that causes is misinformation, and it causes confusion, it causes divisions. And Van and I, it's very important for us, not to take that route. So
Yep.
we're trusting people that know about this much more than us. Same as the reverse. It's like, the newer white belt that comes into our school and is like, hey, isn't the armbar supposed to be done like that? Or why are you doing this guard pass? Or blah, 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 blah. And how it annoys us. The same is in the reverse. When jiu-jitsu people,
Hmm.
start to talk like they're, experts in treating viruses or they're experts in economics or in whatever. I don't think that's responsible. So that's why we're just being patient and sticking to what we know, which is jiu-jitsu, and doing, showing the best ways that, to tap somebody out.
Here's what I would say, Alex, and I think it's interesting that I think it's less that you don't believe in science and more that it's a workman's journey of, listen, I want to have a space that's open and over my dead body kind of a thing. What I would say is great is you are smart enough to understand that you can change your perspective based off of evidence. And I
Yes.
think that's very
Yes.
important to have as this. The one thing I've been telling people consistently is it's one thing to be ignorant, but it's another to be aggressively ignorant because aggressively ignorant assumes that you have become the expert on it. It says, don't listen to them. Let me infuse my anger and lead the way. And there's a weirdness about this in that so many of the people who do our sport have good intentions about standing up for yourself and self-defense. And this is one of those weird times where it's not a physical fight per se against this virus. It's not like we can put it on a pay-per-view. It's not this little cloud that somebody, GSP is going to beat the shit out of. And then all of a sudden we win. Like, we have to depend on some very
It's not
smart.
that easy.
I wish it was. Because if so, we'd have a great line of people to go up against it. The thing that's disheartening to me is this, is that on the opposite side, I hope that the people who are very aggressively ignorant understand all of us want to go back to training. Like when I pulled back and I started encouraging people and saying, listen, on my salt scale, I think it's important that we do close. I don't want your gym to go under. So maybe understand those two things are not going to be connected. Like it's going to be something that we have to deal with, but I think that it's very important that we take into consideration, do what we can, and be smart about how we go back. And if you're in a region that isn't affected, yeah, I think you could probably reopen, but that doesn't mean the problem is eliminated. We're just mitigating risk is what we're doing. So that's been something that I've learned from a number of people who I've said, well, teach me what you know, to people who spent the time doing it. Because I can tell you, when I got to the point in science in any of my high school times, I would literally go, why the hell am I going to need any of this? This is stupid. And I said, listen, you nerds, you figure it out and then give me a summary of what's happening. And really, that's what we've come to. So
Exactly.
I appreciate your candor, but I would never take what you're doing, just knowing you and your person, as anything other than this is what you're born to do. And it's something that you want to always be able to share and give to those people because you know what it gives to you. So I think that's more than anything. It's not like you're just sitting there being like, I just want to Denzel Washington my way through the end of this class and tell you guys think King Kong can kill me? Like that doesn't strike me as you. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So I'm glad that's the perspective, and Van, I'm glad everything's been going well with your family, continued health,
Thank you.
stuff, my friend. But yeah,
Appreciate it.
I do feel that is a perspective that is so coincidentally helpful to the plight of the jiu-jitsu practitioner, because I'm sure you were able to also quell your students and say, listen, it is happening, and
Yep.
we are taking that into consideration for our gym. So that's a really good thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't be, it's better to be safe than sorry, in my opinion. Alex and I've told that to each other many times. It's just that why even take the risk when we don't necessarily know what we're up against? We might as well sit back, see what happens, and take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's high possibilities all of these calculations could be wrong. Absolutely. But the reality of the overwhelmed hospitals, I'm sure your wife sees firsthand.
Yes.
And that's not something that you're really going to make up. So I totally understand the miscommunication, anger, and frustration. But the hard part about people who use their platform to do that is it falls on gym owners like you to then go to your students who feel uneasy, angry, want to get back. So it becomes like a whole issue, a problem of, having to be like a therapist as well and saying, God, how do I tell this kid we shouldn't train when I want to train, because I want to go back and train right now?
Yeah, we get those DMs, man. We get those DMs where people are sending us stuff that, hey, this is this and that. But, at the end of the day, you just got to find a way to shut it down and tell them, hey, it's out of our hands. We gotta follow the rules, follow what people are telling us, and just be safe.
Yeah. Well, again, great stuff on that side. So Alex, I got to ask Van what he was doing. It sounds like you're about ready to start running a triathlon. Like you're doing biking, you're doing running. Like, I know it's not the funnest of exercise. I hate doing that stuff, but it's what you got to do to make through with the time. What else have you been doing outside of physical stuff? What have you been doing to keep your mind okay during this time?
I've been reading a lot. I've been, mostly, staying physical. It's actually funny, but I live in between two huge attractions. I live in between Prospect Park and the beach, and I haven't gone to either one of those in, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years, because I've been just teaching and training 7 days a week, and I've always thought that I was too busy for that, and I never had an interest in it. And this is the first year in the last, I don't know, 5-6 years that I actually have a little tan. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, look at that.
He's got a tan line.
Right over there.
Wow.
So, so I've been just, kind of taking care of myself. And, I'm very close friends with Van and a few others, but I also have a few other close friends that I just haven't talked to in years. So I kind of just, rekindled some friendships. I've been, spending even more time with my family and just kind of almost going backwards. But, it's been, it's been good. And, but definitely, really, I think the expression is jonesing to train jujitsu. But I think what a lot of people understand, people are messaging me all the time, oh, let's train in secret. It doesn't have to do with the training itself. What I really miss is the community. I miss teaching people. I miss, all the laughter before and after class. I miss tapping people out. I miss getting frustrated when I get tapped out. I miss losing 20 pounds for no reason for a tournament that for some reason didn't happen, or all those weird things. That's what I really miss. So the rolling, that's gonna come. But all the lifestyle is really the change that really affected me.
I think the biggest version of it that I've been trying to explain to people is, in doing the comedy stuff, is I told people, I actually miss hecklers. Like, I miss live hecklers. That's how bad COVID's affected me. Now I miss a live audience, and the ability for someone to try and heckle me on stage and me to have a microphone and be like, hey, shut up, idiot. Like, now I'm just kind of like, I would pay money to someone to heckle me on stage and have an audience, like that was a fun time now in retrospect, in doing all these isolated shows. And for me personally, I have a belief of, I try to do as many as possible interviews in person. And obviously the Skype has been a huge help, and this sort of streaming service is great to create a connection, but there's no better connection for me as a interview guy than rolling with somebody and then interviewing them, because there's an inherent trust that then becomes apparent. and the interviewee will give you a better interview. Like, they don't hold back. They don't feel as apprehensive. And it's such a testament to jiu-jitsu and what it does, is that really jiu-jitsu puts down your defenses and allows you to get to know that social side of people way easier. So to me, I'm now doing interviews with people who I'm like, never met you before. You won a thing. Congratulations. How is that? And that proxemics of being close to people is it's just different. So there is that. I would ask you this though, because I know you've been so concerned with the school and making that be successful. Would we see either of you competing, given how dry of a period this has been? Because all I'm hearing from competitors is, I don't care where it is, I just want to compete.
Alex, I mean, Alex knows my issues. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Alex knows my issues. I'm probably one of the most hungry people to compete. Like, I want to compete, and I want to be on the mats. I want to be on stage. I want to do it all. But the problem is the body is not a yeah. not in the same not in the same line. My goal is here, but my body is going the opposite way. Injuries are just a little. Everyone knows. Everyone's been through it. But when injuries pile up, when they pile up on top of each other, it just gets tough. It's actually sometimes disheartening, to the point where I gotta keep talking to myself, and I gotta keep motivating myself to keep going, because even teaching and training sometimes can be, it's not easy. But at the end of the day, we have Alex, my family, and everyone else who's pushing me on and telling me I can do it. So just gotta keep telling myself I can. So maybe after the pandemic, who knows? Maybe this will help me heal up.
I was going to say, has your body healed any from this time? Because that's a weird part of this whole situation. Is I've never seen people angry to be like, my body's healing and I hate it.
No, mine's actually it's the same. I have I have 2 herniated discs and aches all over the place, and it just doesn't seem to go away no matter how many times I stretch, work out, or take whatever muscle relaxers I have to take to quell the swelling. And it's just gotten to the point where it's sometimes depressing, actually. But just gotta stay strong and take it day by day.
Alex, same question to you.
Yeah, it's interesting because jiu-jitsu, it's the only sport that I know of that the coaches are at the same time competitors as well. And it's really like, let's say you're a chef, and at the same time you're also, waiting tables and taking orders. It's really a lot, and it's really difficult. And one thing that I always find admirable are those coaches that, the whole day they're coaching their students, and then they go fight, and they're able to kind of have these 2 switches, and, it's kind of like a seamless transition. Personally, it's not one that I have been able to be completely successful with. For me, it's either like I go in as a coach or I go in as a competitor. I don't really have the switch, and I don't really know how to turn one on or one off. And for the longest time, Ven has been my coach, and I've been my own coach. And also, like, with the 2 schools, like, we're running all over the place, and I'm drilling with the student on one day, and I'm trying to roll with my students on another, and I'm just trying to kind of make do. But I think, with some of the new plans that me and Van have, where instead of having 2 places where we're kind of running back and forth, we're going to have like 1 place, and it's going to, be a little bit easier for us to handle the operation, since it's going to be 2 of us together in 1 space. I think competing for me personally is going to become, much more accessible, and it's going to be much easier for me to, train. Like, I used to take class, like Van was, when we had 1 space, Van would be teaching a class, and I'll be training in the class. And students, they would come up to me with questions, and I would just be like a jerk. I'm like, don't ask me. This is my lunch break. Go to Van. And
it's true.
It's true, and that's how I feel. And like, I want that again. I want to, have Van. Hey, when you're passing, you should have been lower, and somebody to keep an eye on me. And the person that I trust is Van, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. So I think once things blow over, things are going to get even better. In that respect.
Actually, the point where we were competing more was when we were together. Actually, when we separated not separate, but when we ended up with the two schools, our focus kind of shifted a little bit. We still wanted to compete, but we weren't able to train with each other as much anymore, or brainstorm, or drill, because it's very different. I mean, not to say that the levels are different, but we know each other very well. We've been training for 10, 11 more years than so we know each other's games. We know what makes each other tick. So it's really helpful to have that kind of relationship, and I'm really excited as well to have that back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes from, asking, Alex what made you guys click instantly. And I think having someone that understands you and becomes somebody that you form a bond with, that carries over heavily into competing. And especially if a lot of the times you're almost kind of like peer coaching or being in those corners for each other in ways that it's like, Van, you coming out here was great. Like, I loved seeing you have an active role and seeing it and understanding
that was
it.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was, honestly, dude, I feel like anytime I see groups like that come out here, I always get like a peek into that clique, that little group's vibe, what makes them unique. And everybody has like, there's a similar thing between people who come out here to LA and will, host a seminar or, just visit, or there's like 3 guys that compete all the time and they come, or 1 guy competes and then the 2 guys are his coaches or whatever. You get a sense of them. For you guys, it was a very like even keel thing. And at certain points I was looking over at you, Van. I was like, shit, dude. I was like, man, he's good. I would watch him compete too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all here for Alex, but I would watch you compete too. So to me, I just always try to keep an eye on it. And I would say, I think it's a really good, fortunate thing that you guys have each other to kind of work off of, because having that is what not only keeps you sane on the mats, but I'm sure when you have this distance and you have a business partner, sometimes it could be very, very, very bad in terms of how people treat each other. So having that good foundation is what keeps you guys good during these very, very turbulent times.
For sure.
For sure.
So talk to me about this. You've kind of preluded. I'm not going to pry and ask what the specific ideas are, but can you give me a general outlook as to what is yet to come from you guys? Because obviously reopening is there, and Alex probably has a notepad or dream journal filled with ideas that he has to go through. So
500 pages.
I'll start with you, Alex. What can we expect coming through from you guys?
The most important thing is just a larger space. But we had 2 gyms, and both of the mat spaces were roughly 1,000 square feet. So in New York, that's about maybe average. Yep. But we would love to have like a larger mat space. Our biggest complaints were that we never had showers and that our bathrooms were like really nasty.
Tiny.
So, tiny and like, yeah. So like having maybe some showers, having some, some bathrooms. Van and I, we also love bathhouses. So let's throw a sauna in there.
That's not a bad idea.
Let's throw a sauna in there and make it like a place that you can kind of train, recover. And, one thing that, we had was we would always open up the gym early, and it would be like kind of like a happy hour, comedy hour, where people would come in.
Yep.
And, people would just people would just come. I don't even think for the jiu-jitsu as much as for the trash talking before class, so kind of growing into that even more so, like having like a lounge area and having like almost like a clubhouse feel where it's just a community space where we have said jiu-jitsu hours, but at the same time, we're just kind of like just, being together. And I think post-COVID, that's exactly what people are going to need, because people are missing that intimacy. People are missing the camaraderie. People are missing the friendships, the face-to-face, as you talked about earlier.
It's the interaction.
This is just interactions. And the rest of the stuff, Van, I think, you're going to have to send Ruff and, NDA, like you talked about earlier, because
top secret
everything
stuff.
else is, top secret, confidential,
Fair enough. I would never do you guys wrong, like putting you on a live telecast and having it go out people out that way. That's not really my vibe. I would tell you, I would be cautious about saying jiu-jitsu and comedy happy hour because honestly, that's probably more aligned to what I do than any form of regular jiu-jitsu. Like, I wouldn't say my guard passing is good, but my ability to trash talk people and then magically get a pass somehow because of that, it's not bad. So
That's a skill.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to lean on what you're good at in order to make it happen. Where you're like, I'm not passing this guy's guard. Hey, dude, because I always used to tell people, I was like, man, if we talked about having like a hosting gig, it's not like you could just cater your jokes to a jiu-jitsu crowd. So when I used to do this live comedy show, I noticed more and more people would come from my gym to watch me do the comedy. And I looked at them and I go, normally I'll throw like one or two jokes to a specific audience just to make them feel at ease. But I started getting so much of the crowd being replaced by jiu-jitsu people that I was like, how alienating is it going to be if I grab a mic and I'm like, Jesus, hey, what's up, everybody? Half guard, am I right? Woo! You guys ever get stuck at half guard and just wonder, how'd I get here? Man, all the time. And I just thought, like, we're going to do like a Seinfeld shtick for 5 minutes on half guard. Like, so when you say you're going to have a comedy hour, you just kind of were giving me an idea of it. I was like, oh, I'll show up for that. 100%. I'll be in your lounge area and just tell a few jokes when we say.
Just trash talk.
We need people for our seminars, Ralph.
The best thing I can always give people is I can teach people how to interview, and I can always teach people how to trash talk. But there's still the professional wrestling nonsense that we do. Like, that's our moneymaker. I've had people be like, would you teach a WWE BJJ seminar? And I was like, I don't think in good faith I could ever charge somebody for that. If only because of how ridiculous it is. I sent a Canuto video, and it's basically somebody giving an RKO when they're jumping in the sky. I go, you keep doing your jumping shit. I'm just going to do that. And he's like, oh, dude, that sounds so fun. I would do that. And I was like, I knew you would. I knew it would go viral.
He's got the capacity to do that, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
what happened to Ralph?
He got cut off. Raf's back.
Ralph, you back?
Oh, audio. Yeah, we can't hear you either.
Van, you're the new host.
Hey guys, welcome to the Masterskya show. We have our guest Raf. Everybody knows him, Mr. RKO himself. But we can't hear him right now. Should we both exit out, Alex, and come back? No?
Yeah, let's try.
Okay, wait, 1 second. I think he's okay, let's try.
All right. Hopefully this is working now. Let me go ahead and see if this is there. Hopefully you guys should be able to hear me. If not, I apologize. This is a terrible way to end the show. All right. Hopefully we're back. All right. Oh, my apologies to you guys watching. Here, if I've got both of them back on, I've got Van. Do I hear you?
What's up?
Do I hear?
Back.
All right, we're good.
I hear both of you.
We're good.
My apologies. I don't know why it does this every once in a while. I was told by the makers of this it is my fault, and I'm like, sure, if you say so.
Everything is your fault, Ralph.
It always is. Well, that sounds good, dude. It sounds like you guys have a good plan that is for what comes in the future. We obviously can't ask where and when because it's just dependent on when science is going to be there. But I guess I would ask for both of you guys, and I think this is important to ask. I think Van is frozen. There we go.
I'm back.
I guess the question I would have for both of you guys is I'm going to minimize myself. I'm just going to take myself out, so I'm not leaving this time. But I just want you guys to have the floor, and I want you to tell people how they can best support you guys right now, because obviously the gym will come back. But I think it's important that people know how it is they could support you, be it, donations or how they can help out the gym, whatever it is. But and you guys are welcome to give whatever shout outs you want to. So I'm just going to go ahead and minimize myself, and you guys have.
Van, you want to go first?
Go ahead, bro. You're better than me at talking. You're the Mr. Podcast guy.
I'm the podcast. I should have, shaved a little bit. Guys, as far as the support goes, the support that we've received already is overwhelming. People have been donating on Venmo, on PayPal. If you want to donate, that money is going to be used to reopen. We're going to, invest in all of that stuff. So our Venmo, it's just Masterskya. And our PayPal is masterskystyle@gmail.com. Van and I, our full-time job is jiu-jitsu instructors. So, I'm not sure what the current state of events is, but if anybody wants to host us for any seminars or anything like that, just let us know and maybe we can arrange something if it's, safe and feasible to do so. Unfortunately, jiu-jitsu, it's very similar to, other creative jobs, and, it's a lot of people, they think it's, because they do it for fun, maybe they think that it's, not like a real job, but it's our job. So, it's hard, we support ourselves. So, we really appreciate everybody asking us to train with them and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's still our livelihood. So just, we respect everybody. So as long as everyone respects us in that aspect, that'll be greatly appreciated. But other than that, just say hello, just give us a shout out. If you have a good meme, send it over.
Send it our way.
That's the support that, we really love from all of our people.
And yeah, just make sure you let us know how you guys are doing. Like, I know everyone is struggling in these times. It's nice to hear stories from other people and what they're going through. And again, like Alex and I have felt everyone's generosity in terms of them helping us. So if there's anything that we can do to help anyone, feel free to reach out to us as well. It's a tough time. It's not a good time to be selfish. It's a good time to reach out and give a helping hand to the people that do need it. And of course, like with everything that's been going on, it's not easy, of course, monetarily to shell out what you have, especially if you're not working. So, a good thumbs up, positive energy is always good with us. So, that's basically all we need.
It's good stuff.
Sure.
And I just I just wanted to compliment you guys. I think that you guys you're a great duo. You guys have a great gym. Hopefully when this thing ever comes through and we have travel back again and I find myself in New York, you better believe I will stop by and say hello to you guys. But
you're more than welcome, Raf.
I appreciate that. That is always wonderful to hear. But you guys really are doing great things. And, like I said, I can't always keep my eye on every single gym that happens, but there are so many people that if I see it on my feed and I say, you know what, I think it's a good time to talk, I want to use that platform to at least talk and say, listen, what have you guys gone through? Because hopefully somebody else either learned something from it, or they say, maybe I gained some new insight, or maybe even better, they say, like, I want to continue supporting these guys because I think it's so important that people have a gym to go back to once this is all over. So I think that's the reality that people talk about, like, I can't afford this, I can't do this. I totally understand that. But if you can, you should know what you would be missing if this wasn't around and operate with that mentality. So that's why I think it's been, very important to me to fight like hell for it and just say, like, hey, let's use our time wisely. But I appreciate both of you gents. Do you guys mind sticking around? I'll talk to you off air, but I'm just going to close up shop here and say goodbye to everybody real quick.
For sure.
Good. Thanks. All Thanks to everyone for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. I will see you guys in just a second off air, but I want to just go ahead and close the show by reminding you guys of an important thing. Remember what we're talking about here. It is very easy. I love the fact that Van's talking about good positivity. I agree with that as well. It's not just positive vibes to your gyms. It's positive vibes to your community. Take out one of these Post-its, write 3 places, persons, or things. Small businesses appreciated all the more. If you can buy something financially from them, great. If it's within the jiu-jitsu community, don't just hear them say they got seminars. Take them up on it. Take up seminars, buy privates from your local instructors, because they may not be able to teach right now and it is not their fault. Or better yet, you can buy privates that will be in the future. They will honor them, I promise you. And look into ways of supporting your local areas like that. If you don't have finances, we'll go ahead and support that. Find ways to go ahead and support them through sharing your gyms, sharing why you love them on your social media, volunteering your time to your gym as they have to incorporate so many of these guidelines that will be a little hard to implement, and I'm sure they'll appreciate your help. And if you can't do any of those things, send a good note to your training partners, check in on their mental health, say hello, because I promise you, the smallest of gestures will have the largest of impacts. My name is Rafa Esparza. I thank you guys for tuning in today. Tomorrow we continue our hashtag Save Jiu-Jitsu Gym series as we talk with one Jason Youssef from Irvine, and we'll talk with him about his gym, how he's been working around COVID, and hopefully having a great conversation as well with that one. So that's what I got for you guys. My name again, Rafa Esparza. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you on the mats.